how important is it for you guys to establish home field advantage and get that dominance back that Navy's had always at the stadium?
Oh, it's very important to us. We're trying to dominate our home turf and, let people know if you come in there, we're going to play our hardest, and we're expecting to come out with a win, protect our territory. So that's something that's been very important to us this year.
Do you guys play off the emotions of the brigade, having them there, knowing them they're there, and knowing that they're behind you?
Yes, sir. The brigade helps us very well. Like just knowing that you're there playing in front of your family and your friends, people that you're with every single day gives us that extra motivation, an extra willpower to go out there and play as hard as we can.
And how important is it for you guys to get things going in the conference now that you're back home?
Yeah, that's one thing too. That's one of our goals, try and win the AAC. So it's very important, definitely to win at home, especially in those conference games, and dominate in every aspect of that game. So
thanks, Xavier.
Thank you.
Ian Birch.
Hi, Xavier. Thanks so much. Congratulations, first of all, on your nominations for a lot of the awards, the Jason Witten Award and the All-State. Really impressive, especially at a school like Navy, which has so many leaders. So, I've read a lot about your story, but you don't become a leader overnight. Kind of what do you attribute kind of your resilience and leadership qualities to whom, or just kind of anything that in particular you can point to?
Yeah, so I would attribute those qualities basically to everyone that's raised me, like my parents, Bonnie and Clarence, my brothers that I grew up with. They gave me that motivation to work as hard as I can and be a better person for them. My aunt and uncle I grew up with during a certain time, Katrina and Emmanuel, Michael, and then the Compton family, of course. They've been a very vital role for me during my high school time. Like raising me into the person I am today. So everybody pitched in, it takes a village to raise one person. So they've all pitched in and helped me. And I'm very glad that I was able to be a part of that.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I have two high schoolers myself, and just thinking of, kind of what you were able to do outside the football field. And then now in college at the Naval Academy with your 50 hours community service. That's a real, there's a ton of time. You don't have a lot of time outside of your normal requirements. Kind of how did you know you wanted to stay involved with the organizations you picked and the tutoring, and what does it mean for you to give back?
Yeah, one thing I was taught growing up was whatever I'm good at, try and do it to the best of my ability, try and help others in that area. So like with the tutor thing with thermodynamics class that I have, I was good at it. So I just decided to help those who needed help, or it didn't come as easy to them. So that was just an easy choice for me. And then for helping like kids, like growing up and seeing how I grew up and all the things I went through, I wish I had that role model or someone that I could look up to and show me the light basically out of the darkness. And I wanted to be that role model for those kids coming up. So give them the opportunity to have someone to look up to.
Very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wags.
Hey, Xavier, good to see you, buddy.
How you doing?
Great. It looks like you're getting more and more comfortable in the striker role. I thought that the Memphis game was your best game. Just kind of tell me your thoughts. Are you starting to really get a feel for the position?
Yes, sir. I think I am. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to get more and more comfortable in that spot. It always takes time trying to work at different things. There's always something I can improve on. But yeah, I am getting more comfortable with more experience and more game time, definitely.
Well, you and I have talked about this in the past, but that is a position that needs to be a playmaker, needs to be in the backfield, getting disruptive. I saw several instances where you showed blitz but dropped, but then other times you blitz. But are you starting to feel like you have a better feel for how to play that position and how to disguise? And that's something that Coach Newberry talked about last week, was disguising defenses is important. Can't show our hand, tip our hand. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So yeah, Newberry, Volker, and Coach Brown have all pitched in and helping me understand that position and be able to show and disguise what I'm going to do each and every play. We all understand that position is very important to our defense, and that whenever my number is called, I need to go and make that play. So definitely playing with my alignment, disguising, trying to affect the quarterback and disguising what I'm doing to him is going to help our team. So Yeah, they've definitely tried and improved my ability to play that position for sure.
Do you think the Memphis game marked a real step forward for the defense? I mean, obviously, Notre Dame didn't go the way you wanted. It was hard to kind of gauge off of Wagner, but you know, do you feel like the Memphis game, especially that one stretch of the the second quarter where you had four straight, forced them to punt on four straight possessions? Do you think it was a step forward?
Yeah, we were talking about it as a defense, like it's a glimpse of what we can be as a defense, and what our potential can be. But we always got to work on focusing on those details and making sure we execute at the highest level that we can. So yeah, that game was a highlight. I wouldn't say it wasn't our best for sure, but it's definitely a glimpse of what we can be on defense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James Hartner.
Hey Xavier, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. So I just have a couple quick questions for you. But could you explain the process that it took for you to become a full-time starter, especially it's your senior year? And yeah.
It just took a lot of time and commitment, commitment to the process, commitment to the work that I had to put in just to get to where I am right now. Also just learning from previous, like John Marshall is a great example for me. I've been underneath him for 3 years, and being able to learn and watch him play has helped and grow my own game. So yeah, just a lot of time commitment and definitely just a lot of attention to detail that I had to prove on for myself. So
Speaking of John Marshall, when it comes to like your leadership, did you, I guess, adapt a few bit from him or some aspects from him, and just to show the younger players and whatnot?
yeah, definitely. John Marshall as a leader was like that cool leader that, laid back guy, he's going to go around and do his job, but he's always going to make sure that his teammates are good, and everybody's still has their head in the game and doing the right thing. So yeah, I definitely took some qualities from him, try and copy and mirror him and make him my own. But yeah, he was also a great leader for our room and as the whole team as well. So
Awesome. And then going back to your leadership as well, like Shaheen was mentioning, where you've been nominated for a few awards and whatnot. What is the message that you have for the younger players that look up to you?
basically, I would say one thing to remember was just keep working, never let, like I always say, never let your surroundings limit your opportunities or what you're going to do or be in life. So just keep charging, do what you do best, and keep working at what you can get better at. So there's always something to improve on, get better in that area and then things will come to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Xavier.
Thank you.
All right, we'll make another trip around. Scott Wyckoff.
Yeah, Xavier, what does your relationship with the Compton family taught you about not only being a better person on the field, but also away from the field?
They definitely developed my well, first and foremost, they developed my relationship with Jesus Christ and God, and definitely helped me realize that aspect of my life was very important. So that helped and lead me to helping others, and just being that leader for other people, ones who don't have someone to really look up to or follow. Just try and be that role model, and show them that there's a way out of whatever adversity that you have going on.
So does it help you look at people differently and say, hey, maybe that person over there might need a little extra help and maybe I can be that person to give it to them?
Yes, sir. I always try to be that person for whoever needs it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ian.
Just in the bye week, I mean, you get two in the really beginning part of the season. Anything in particular that you're looking to catch up on, whether it's sleep or just, kind of football stuff, treatment?
Yeah, just treatment, I'll say, is one major thing. Keeping our body as healthy as possible this early in the year is going to help way long, like down the road, being healthy later in the season. Definitely working on fundamentals, making sure we're still good on our tackling, whatever, block destruction, all that stuff, and trying to get better in areas that I see that I need to improve on, whether it be rushing the passer or playing coverage well or disguising, whatever that is. Just trying to improve in those areas, and then keep whatever I'm doing good at, keep it good at a high level. So
Great. Thank you.
thank you.
Wags.
So you mentioned earlier about your younger siblings, and I remember when I wrote the article last year, you had talked about, trying to look after them and take care of them. Where are your younger siblings these days, Xavier?
Yeah, so a couple of them graduated. They're all, well, not all of them, but some of them are working now. They're still down in St. Petersburg. One, Jacob, is looking to play for JUCO college for basketball right now, looking for those offers. He's still playing AAU ball. And I have other brothers right now. The two younger siblings are in high school still. The youngest is currently playing football for my old high school, and he's wearing my old high school numbers. So that was pretty cool to see. But yeah, that's what they're all doing. They're still down there just hanging out. Most of them working, and then the two younger ones still in school.
Awesome. So I don't think we've seen a whole lot of a backup striker. Where is Jackson Campbell's at this point? I mean, are you getting almost all the reps at striker? And maybe when you come out, they go to a nickel or dime package, which doesn't include a striker, and it's a safety. But I have to go back and review the participation chart, but it doesn't seem to me from watching the games that I've seen a whole lot of a backup striker.
Yeah, we've been trying to rotate in and out of games. Just there's been different situations where we haven't been able to, and that's just like it's game dependent. There's different situations where like you just can't have those switches in and out. And like most offenses we play against have that fast paced offense, like good tempo, so we can't substitute. But yeah, there's different packages with different people. And, we have good depth in our room. So we're trying to get everybody out on that field, to showcase their ability. So.
All right, thanks, Xavier.
Thank you.
James.
Yeah, going back to that too, like, how you were talking about, like, what you've been focusing on mentally or, like tackling and whatnot. What's the primary focus that you've been focusing on, especially throughout the bye week and whatnot?
One focus for me this week is definitely the rush the passer better. Even though in Memphis, you saw like a glimpse of it, I always want to improve upon that because at that striker position, that's something that's very important. Having my number called, we're expected to go in there and make the play. So that's something that I need to have at an elite level and make sure that I can execute whenever my time is called. So that's one major thing that I'm working on this week.
Coach, heading into USF, what do you like the best about this defense right now as you prepare for the Bulls?
Yeah, I think we're playing extremely hard and physical football right now. I think we can still play with a little bit more technique, obviously tackling wise. But I really like the way that this group just keeps coming to work and is really focusing on an improvement and playing our brand of football, smart, fast, violent, and together. And that's the way they practice.
How important is it for this defense to really establish a home field identity, especially in conference?
Yeah, I think it's critical for us. And as soon as, Coach Newberry took over the first practice we had in the spring in the stadium, that was a point of emphasis for us. And that has not subsided since that point. And we have to understand it's our home turf. And we've got to protect it and do a lot better than we have in years past there. And obviously, South Florida is going to be a heck of a challenge. They just played Alabama extremely tough, had their opportunities to win that football game as well. So we know we're going to have our hands full with those guys.
When you look at a game like against a team of South Florida, they have something to prove. A lot of people have been saying a lot of things about them, and they just missed against Notre Dame. I would imagine that this is a time for them to really try to shine against you.
Absolutely. You got a new head coach there who's I've known since he was at Toledo, and we worked some camps together back in the day there. He's a great mind. He's assembled a roster of players that can go out there and execute what he wants to be able to execute. Their system's extremely tough for us defensively and for anybody. And he had obviously a ton of track record of success at Tennessee. And in year one, you're trying to make an instant impact, and obviously they're on their way there. And you listen to him talk about there's no moral victories and things like that. He's sending the right message to his guys. in terms of their toughness and their resolve as well. So it's going to be an enormous game for us, and we understand that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Wags.
BJ, why don't you give an assessment of the Memphis game? Obviously, the one stretch of the first half was fairly dominant, 4 straight punts. I think 3 of those 4 possessions were 3 and out. So that was obviously a very dominant stretch by Navy defense that enabled the team to take the lead. On the downside, rushing defense gave up some chunk plays, 2 69-yard runs by Blake Watson, most notably. Can't have those. Why don't you just kind of give me an assessment of the big picture of Memphis?
Yeah, I thought our guys played extremely hard on Thursday night, and we had chances to win the football game. I think as a staff, we're evaluating everything, whether it's scheme, personnel, technique. You're spot on with the 2 long runs. Those things can't happen. The tackling is still not where it needs to be, and that's what I mean when we're talking about scheme, personnel, technique. Where do we need to be? They had I believe it was 52 yards rushing on 29 carries, and then 138 on 2 other carries. And unfortunately, you can't X those things out. We had our opportunities. I think we had 5 missed tackles on the one. We pulled out of a gap on another, and Blake Watson's a heck of a football player. We had 15 missed tackles, and I believe 11 of them were on Blake Watson. So he was a really, really impressive player in the football game, but that's no excuse. We got to get him on the ground consistently. I thought our guys, like I said, played their tails off. We still are working on the detail. The two third downs on the first series of the game, we played those exact plays versus that exact coverage and call, and we got to get off the field then. And our guys understand that. We had gone through that. We had practiced those. We'd executed them in practice. I was disappointed that we didn't execute those in the game, but then I was extremely impressed with the resolve of our guys coming back and playing really clean football for the next several series as we took the lead in the football game and took hold of that. Then in the end of the first half on the 1-minute drive, again, we did not cleanly execute several of our techniques, and we got to coach them better so we understand them and we can execute them and call on those techniques when those critical plays come up. So it was an effort where we had our chances to win. And like any game, you're going to look back on 4 or 5 plays that determine the outcome of the football game. And generally, they were third down and red zone plays for us, where we've got to just continue to get better. But I thought we made a big jump from week 1 to week 2, and I think we're getting a little bit closer to where we need to be from week 2 to week 3.
Coach Newberry talked on Monday about missing tackles to the wrong side. That there's some missed tackles that don't show up as blatantly, whereas, can you further explain what he's talking about there? Sure. That when you lose leverage, I mean, can you further explain that for the non-football coach?
Sure, and that's a term we use around here, so everybody knows what a missed tackle is. That obviously that's where you just fail to get the ball carrier on the ground. For us, a wrong tackle is, so if I'm a corner and I'm coming from my left to my right to the ball carriers on the inside of me, I have to maintain outside leverage. So we're a shoulder tackling team. So as I start to close space between me and the ball carrier, me moving from my left to right and the ball carrier being inside and to my right, I'm a right shoulder tackle guy. And if I miss the tackle and he's able to cross my face, so he's able to break my leverage and get outside me, that's what we mean by a wrong tackle. So now we've compromised the defense because we no longer have leverage on the football and contain on the football. And that's what happened 4 times. We had 4 wrong tackles out of our 15, and missed tackles happen throughout the course of the game. But what we have to do is we have to own our leverage. And hopefully I was able to articulate that well enough that you were able to understand that. But that's critical for us. So the missed tackles do happen. Those are tackles that you miss, but you still maintain leverage. When you have a wrong tackle, you miss the tackle and your leverage is broken. So the integrity of the defense is broken down as well.
Basically, if you miss the tackle, you want your help to be there.
Exactly. So we talk Wags about keeping the cup. So a force player is an outside in player for us. So that's someone that's got to keep their outside arm and leg free at all times. So there's a force player. Then a pursuit player is somebody that's coming inside out on the football. Okay. So the force player's job is to set the ball and turn it back to everybody in pursuit. And then the third part of the cup is our fill player, somebody coming from the top down. And unfortunately, we on the first long run that they had, we had a wrong tackle from our force player, and then we had a missed tackle from a fill player, and that turns into disaster.
Got it. One last thing for me we heard that Jacob Busick got hurt toward the end of the game. Any report on his condition? Obviously, he's a very important member of this defense.
Obviously, Busick is a huge member of the defense. Just a great leader, a great person, all those things. Got a little bit banged up. We're just sort of waiting to see, what the diagnosis is and where he's going to get back. He's out there at practice yesterday, and just working with the strength staff and things like that. So we'll see how that sort of plays its way out as it moves forward. But I don't have anything else other than the report on that.
Thank you.
James Hartner.
Hey, Coach. I just have a few quick questions. But so South Florida, over the past 3 games, they've averaged over 200 rushing yards per game. I just wanted you to see what are some strategies that your team is developing to, I guess, stop the run, better than the 3 opponents that they faced so far.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line for them is doing a great job. The tailback, number 5, I mean, he runs extremely hard and physical. And shoot, he's ran over guys from every opponent that they've had so far. And he's been extremely impressive in terms of those things. So we know we're going to have our hands full. We're going to have to commit resources in the run game, in terms of bodies and scheme, to being able to make sure that we eliminate the run game and don't allow them to get those things going. But at the same time, it's challenging because they spread you from sideline to sideline and can attack you with the vertical passing game and the play action passing game as well. So this is a extremely well designed offense that's difficult to defend. We've got to tackle at a better clip than we've tackled at so far, and we've got to destroy blocks. And then when we have the opportunity to present itself, we got to get off the field with third down and takeaways. And our guys understand those things, but we've got to be creative with how we do all that.
And moving on to kind of a different subject, but we just had an interview with Xavier McDonald, and I just want to ask a couple questions about him. And the one question I was thinking is what are some growths that you've seen in his, I guess, collegiate career so far, and like what he's adapted from special teams to now full-time starter?
Yeah, I mean, it's not shocking when you know his story, just the level of toughness that he has. I've been extremely impressed with him. Like, he came out of spring ball and OTAs as a reserve, as a backup. And he just had an excellent offseason. And I think the first thing that really sticks out to me with him taking the job very quickly into fall camp was he came in great shape, probably the best shape that he's been in. So that's a testament to Coach Carizzi, his staff, Jim Barry, Scott Marr, our nutritionist, getting his body in the best shape that he possibly can be in, because, X had a deal where, he had gotten some playing time, And, sort of the MO on him was he would get tired quickly and, just would become a shell of himself. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And he showed up in camp in the best shape of his life. And that's trickled into his play because he showed up. He's been in phenomenal shape so he can run. And he's turned into a guy that we've got to spell to a guy that can run all day for us. So that speaks to obviously those guys, the program that we put, but then X's work ethic and his toughness. And this is truly a developmental program. So the longer guys stay around here, the more and more you're going to see them improve. And he's, I think he's a huge testament to that a guy going into a senior year that hasn't really played a lot is playing great football for us at this point. And I'm extremely proud of him.
Speaking of like his background and whatnot, and how it's just built up confidence with like you were saying, how he's in the best shape of his life. What kind of leadership does he bring for for your defense?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
you
no.
Go ahead. I was just saying, like, especially for this season alone. So.
Well, around here, there's always, a hierarchy when it comes to classes, and I think when you get into, you're a senior, guys are going to look at you in a different light because you've been through a lot of the trials and tribulations here at the academy, and guys understand that, and guys are not afraid, especially the underclassmen. I think we've got a great culture here where guys aren't afraid to ask questions and seek advice from their brothers. And obviously he's been through a lot. But as soon as you get here, that they shave your face, shave your head, and you guys all look the same, so then you're going through a lot of the same battles. You're going through a lot of the same adversity that guys that came before you have gone through. So they're going to seek advice and look to those guys. So the more and more time that you've been here, the more leadership role you're going to be in because you have more experiences to be able to teach the younger guys. So I think, just his ability to articulate those things to the younger guys has been monumental for us. And he's comfortable in his own skin to be able to talk about the things that have happened to him here at the academy and here just in his life. And the guys here know the situation and are able to gravitate towards him and really lean on him for leadership and for advice.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Wyckoff.
Just one more for me, Coach. This group of juniors you have in your defensive backfield, each one seems to have a different personality. And looking at Elias and the way he plays, his aggressive nature, how is that coming along and how is he fitting in to the overall scheme of this defense?
Yeah, Eli's doing an excellent job for us. I think he's really making some growth. Challenged him big time in the off season with just some of the physical pieces of playing the position for us. And I think he's a guy that does a great job running and covering. And as he's developed, he's gotten a heck of a lot better in terms of the block destruction and the tackling element of things, and just showing, what we call contact courage around here, and going in there and not being afraid to put a shoulder or his body on somebody and getting them on the ground. And he's continued to progress in that nature. And as coaches, we're always going to want more. We're always going to demand more from all those guys, not just Eli, but I don't care if it's the nose guard, the D tackle, the outside backer, the inside backer, the shoot the left guard, right guard, quarterback. We want more and more when it comes to physicality. But he's been willing and embraced that piece of it. And corners in general. In our first defensive meeting, I tell them we don't have cover corners around here. There's nothing like that. You got to be willing to throw it up in there and play some violent football for us. And he's really progressed in that manner.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Wags.
Well, I asked about Busick, but what about some of the other guys that have been out? Kyle Jacob, do you think he'll be back soon? What's his status? And I think was it Deshaun Peel was out, missed the Wagner game. Is that right, Strauss?
Yeah, Peel played against Memphis.
Hill did come back against Memphis. Okay, got that. Just where else do you stand as far as some frontline guys who may be hurt?
Yeah, so Peel played obviously in that game. He was at practice this week. Will be out at practice today. He's back up and running. KJ is not at this point, so he's still out right now, working with the strength staff to get healthy, and he'll be out for the foreseeable future.
In talking with Xavier, it occurred to me that I haven't seen much of a backup striker playing defense. And then after I got off the phone, I realized I haven't seen a whole lot of a backup Raider. The two outside, I know you're using Johnny Woodson Brooks. You're rotating three guys inside considerably. Are you not at the point where you feel like you have confidence in the backups at the outside backer position?
No. We've so Avon Gibbons has played as the backup striker, and he gets out there on some of our speed package stuff. So you've seen him play some safety and then some backup striker as well. I think he's doing an excellent job there, and been very productive in terms of executing what we've asked him to do at that spot. So I've been really, really pleased with him, and I think you'll see him getting more and more action that position. And then same thing with Luke Pierce over there. Hasn't got as many reps as Gibby has in the regular package, but then in our speed packages and our dime and nickel packages, he's got out there at that Raider position. That's been Luke Pierce, and I think he's really coming along at that position, and really being a guy that our confidence and trust in him is growing exponentially at this point.
I asked Coach Newberry about this, but I'll ask you to weigh in as well. But I mean, Rayon Lane, I know we said a lot about him, but once again, showing up big against Memphis in a variety of ways, chasing down a guy from behind and with an effort, hustle play, getting them out of bounds and forcing them to take another snap, which turns into a fumble, touchdown averted. The closing speed and ability to cut under the receiver for an interception and a nice return sets up Navy with an opportunity to maybe go win that game. That's just one of many plays he made in Memphis game. But what else can we say about Ray?
I think he's turned the corner in terms of his preparation, and that's allowing him to play even faster on the field. And he's Coach Lewis is doing an excellent job with him in terms of his fundamentals, his understanding of the scheme. We talk about not guessing, but anticipating. I think his film study and his level of awareness has led for him to be able to anticipate routes and what he's getting, and not just guess on them, but anticipate them. And really, that particular play that he picked off was a very, very similar play to a critical point in last year's ball game versus Memphis, where we were in a similar presentation. The quarterback backed out, threw the ball, sort of lofted it up over the middle of the field, let his guy run underneath it. When we were in when we were in man coverage last year on the safety, and Ray was able to anticipate it, got a very similar route, and was able to anticipate it this year in zone coverage, and make a huge play in the football game to give us an opportunity to win. But I think, you're watching that football game, you'd have to say that for us, Ray Lane was the best player on the field on Thursday night, and obviously Blake Watson for Memphis. I think those two guys were the two best players on the football field, respectively, on Thursday night.
So just to be clear, you're saying last year they completed a pass in the same presentation, but this year Ray was able to eliminate that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, okay. So they had a very similar deal. They were a little closer to the red zone in the fourth quarter last year, and quarterback was able to loft the ball over the middle of the field. They made a heck of a play, just sort of eluded pressure, had enough time, held in there, and got rid of the football on our safety. And it was a bang play. They slid, made the tackle to continue the drive when we were scratching and clawing to get back in the game in the fourth quarter last season. And this year gave a similar presentation in a similar formation, and Ray was able to anticipate what was going to happen.
All right, one last for me. Another guy I wanted to ask you about, Landon Robinson. I'm overdue to talk to him, but Strauss had mentioned about, the rarity of a nose guard playing on special teams coverage, but he seems to be a pretty unique guy. Now he's starting to show up within the regular, defense, the base defense as a backup, and he's making plays.
Yeah, I mean, Landon is he was a 235, 240 pound Mike linebacker coming out of high school, and he's grown his way and lifted and eaten his way into being a heck of a nose guard for us. He's got a great tutor in Biscuit in front of him to learn from. Obviously, Biscuit playing some excellent football, just his work ethic, the way he goes about it. And then I think Coach Hall's doing a great job with the defensive line in general. We've developed a lot of depth at that position, and Landon being a critical piece of it. He had an excellent spring, excellent offseason. He's just going to keep getting better and better. And his time playing linebacker and running down on kickoff for his high school team, he's just doing that at 50 more pounds now. And he's being a real force for Coach Brown and Coach Yokitis on that unit. And obviously you saw those guys had to double team him on Thursday to even have a chance to get something started return wise. And just really proud of Landon. And I think he's just getting started, Wags. He's going to keep getting better and better.